And now let's go from standardization to people's everyday life. The eIDAS Trust Services Regulation is quickly becoming an integral regulation in our financial lives, and it's also becoming a powerful instrument that makes the single digital society a reality for the European financial services. From the widespread qualified signature use in bank account opening to the emerging opportunity passports, what eIDAS solutions have already become a solid part of our everyday lives. The next presentation will cover these questions. It will cover the benefits eIDAS brings to the people's lives and to businesses, how it will transform our lives and what we can expect from the future. And for this, it's a pleasure to welcome our next speaker. It's Liudas Kanapienis. He's the CEO of Ontado from Lithuania. And he's one of, really the most notable personalities in the Lithuanian fintech world and beyond. He is a businessman and an entrepreneur. He's specializing in digital banking, in cybersecurity, in fintech, and in legal issues and compliance. And it's a pleasure to have you here. The stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for such a warm welcome. And actually, I don't know what to say more about myself. So I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Ontado. And we are providing mostly the services to the financial institutions. However, since now, the situation is rapidly changing, and of course, all the other sectors are applying the possibilities of knowing the customers remotely and digitally, and we are involved into so many automation processes of the so-called KYC. But today, let's talk about the eIDAS, and it's really a pleasure to be here and to give my experience, let's say, on the Baltic states. But since we work a lot with the identity management, I will start with some fresh news from the last week, where the European Union made an announcement about their plans to create a framework for trusted digital identity to make it easier to use a national digital identity to access public sector or commercial services. And basically, the Commission's intention is to expand the existing regulation on electronic authentication systems by addressing some of its limitations, for the example, the lack of mobile support. And despite the flaws, several countries in the European Union already have a pretty solid digital identity solutions in place, and citizens benefiting from using a range of digital identity services. And actually, whopping 60% of Europeans already benefit from the current eIDAS systems, according to the latest European Commission data. And clearly, the eIDAS Trust Services Regulation is quickly becoming an integral regulation in our financial lives. So it is a powerful instrument to able to make a single digital society in reality in Europe. Opportunities it brings are countless. A universally accepted electronic ID could improve a digital activity throughout the EU's market by making it easier for Europeans to verify their identity and access commercial or publicly provided services when traveling or living outside their homes. Let's come back to the Baltics. What eIDAS solutions have already become a part of, especially our lives here. In this presentation, I will try to cover that part. So let's start with Lithuania, where I'm originally from. And here in Lithuania, we are using like 5 of current 9 possible eIDAS services. So it is electronic signature certificates, electronic timestamp creation services, electronic press certificates, electronic signature qualified validation services, and qualified electronic seals. And in the pandemic, many businesses moved to the virtual space, and electronic signature became relevant as never before. According to the data of the Lithuanian Reliability Services Market Overview, in 2014, the qualified electronic signature was used only by 6% of the population. And in 2020, 35% of people use electronic signature on the regular basis, with total of 1.4 million qualified electronic signature certificates issued for Lithuanian residents. And at the end of 2020, out of the total number of valid electronic signature certificates issued to the population of Lithuania, 1.1 million certificates were issued with the Smart ID application, which is purely commercial, and of which 616,000, so it's like more than a half, were issued with the identity cards, certificates of civil services, and certificates of internal service system officials, and 300,000 with the SIM cards. And just a small part of it, more than 40,000 with other smart cards or USB cryptographic keys. Despite the fact that the qualified electronic signature certificates popularity in Lithuania is growing, as much as 61% of Lithuanians still don't use, and 26% don't even know about it. Also, a relatively large part of the Lithuanian population, it's more than 50%, around 54%, is still unaware that identity cards can be used for signing documents with the qualified electronic signature. Overall, there's still much work to be done in terms of the spread of relevant information about the topic. And it is already underway in Lithuania as the part of the project Connected Lithuania. To mobilize the users, the government needs to give a clear and confident lead on the benefits delivered from the implementation of eID. As the pandemic moved practically to all services to cyberspace, the importance of eIDAS is growing every day with more services available to citizens of Lithuania. Even registration for vaccine is now taking place with the e-government online system. And the first country in the EU to approve digital ID according to eIDAS was actually Estonia, and I'm pretty sure every one of us heard some things about Estonia and about the tech savviness. Although it's a very small population, but Estonia is an exceptional example of digital identity use. And like for the past 20 years, citizens of this Baltic country have been able to do everything from banking to starting a new business and managing health appointments with using their digital ID. And issued at birth, Estonia's digital ID is a unique document that allows people to use it for document signing, verification, encryption, and secure identification. It brings plenty of benefits to the individuals and the economy. First of the convenience, and also according to the study from McKinsey Global Institute, an economic boost. And countries that implement a digital ID scheme can boost their gross domestic product by 3 to 13% by 2030. At least that's what McKinsey says. And Estonia essentially communicates on its positive result in the spread of eIDAS and shows an exciting approach to be followed. For example, this striking figure summarizes the impact of the use of electronic signatures on the health industry in the country. 35% of Estonian residents use Smart ID. Again, this the commercial system established by the banks to authenticate themselves online, registered in e-services or signed documents in 2019. As of today, almost half of the Estonian population uses Smart ID regularly. And coming last but not least, in Latvia, that is in between Lithuania and Estonia, in 2019, the Latvian parliament approved the law making the identity card with activated electronic signature and authentication certificates a mandatory identity document for all of the citizens from January 1st, 2023. The use of electronic ID will be unlimited and free of charge. The law has already taken effect from the 1st of January 2021, and the transitional period has already started. Latvia is also the first EU member state which has developed an e-identity certificate tool that comes on a fully mobile solution functioning independently from all the other data carriers. The financial sector in Latvia shows a high services digitalization level. The country ranks 5th in the EU for digital public services, and Latvian citizens are one of the most active users of internet banking in the European Union. All of Latvian citizens using the internet, 83% use online banking, which is 17% above the EU average. And how did the eIDAS transform the way business operates? So it significantly enhances the agility in the process, and of course everyone understands why is that, because you can approve all the transactions just remotely. Of course, it reduces the operational costs, and which is, again, last but not least, removes much of the hassle with the paperwork and, of course, the quantity of it. And that's where we then can move to the other part is about the sustainability itself. And how did eIDAS change the way that we live? So digital ID in general promotes the digitalization, which drives the ease of use, fosters increased inclusion, which provides greater access to goods and services. And if tackling a bit of the inclusion, so segmenting services can improve inclusion, like Kids ID in Belgium, senior service cards in French towns, educated electronic tokens in some German municipalities, and way of lots of the examples where can segmentation and increasing the access to general public, basically, to increase the access to the public services. And these populations represent excellent opportunities to develop fine-tuned e-government services that are more inclusive and then, of course, secure. And of course, that is the same happening in the other sectors and financial services as well. So, like if to mention, in our case, since we do the know your customer process automations and basically then accepting the documents. So what we can also benefit from eIDAS as an example. So by adding one single step with the SMS service, we can actually make the identification plus some kind of document signing for the general public, even without any having additional infrastructure like mobile ID or whatever type of mobile signature, because in the same process we are adding a simple SMS code for the verification, and then it can be used also as an advanced signature. And these kind of services are rolling out across all the Europe and European Union, and not only actually. And thanks to the verifiability introduced by the eIDAS regulation, many industries, including the financial sector, are disruptively changed, facilitating all the know your customer processes, contract signing, and overall the access to their services, which makes it so much easier for users. And digital transformation changed the way in which we use services and products, with regulated security and trust ecosystem allowing businesses expand quickly, even under percent circumstances, and people to get access to the services faster and more securely. The most important maybe thing is that we can do that from whatever place we want, from their home or holiday place or whatever. So that's the short presentation from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. And I hope it gives the view how we are benefiting from the regulation here in the Baltics.
Thank you very much, leaders, for these really impressive numbers and case studies from the Baltic states. As this is our international stage and we have a couple of minutes left, if I may ask a question, because this is about international learning and collaboration. Is there anything from your experiences, from your perspective, that we as Germany can learn from you?
So you see, I think there's always lots of the things that we can learn from each other. Yeah. So and of course there's some examples that let's say Baltics are learning from Germans. Like I mentioned, those different use cases and applications on the segmentation, let's say on the service use, and making that more accessible, let's say, for different group of people. On the one hand, on the other hand. The use, let's say, of the mobile ID and the commercial electronic signatures and qualified signatures are also maybe something for Germany to learn from Lithuania, and especially like in the ID verification space. So how the law is then transferred to the other laws, and basically the other possibilities on how financial institutions can actually interact with their customers, how they can, perform some kind of actions or the same to perform the know your customer process with the user. Maybe it could be something also to look at and to learn from.
Yes, thanks a lot for your answer. I guess this is what it's all about finding use cases that we can transfer into our own system and maybe vice versa. So thank you very much for your input. Thanks for sharing your numbers and have a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.